especially in the embedded systems industry, the approach to designing and selling products has been to sell a customer a product and then have it deteriorate over time as the customer is owning it, and then a few years later sell a customer a new version of the product, a generation of the product. And to be honest, that has worked really well for many years, but with digitalization taking place, what we see is that this model is becoming increasingly problematic, and it is becoming problematic because of four aspects. The first is there's actually a significant lack of clarity around what defines customer value. As companies often are very much focused on the capability of the product, it's very easy to get confused about whether certain features and aspects of the product actually constitute value for the customer, or if we only think it constitutes value for the customer. The second is that it is actually a high risk strategy to have multi-year development efforts to generate next generations of, or build next generations of products, which I then hope to sell to my customers going forward. It's high risk because I'm investing hundreds and sometimes thousands of person years for generating the next version or the next generation of my product, without any real feedback from the customers, whether I'm moving things in the right direction or not, whether I'm adding value to them or not. The third part here is the lack of customer feedback. Of course, all companies have ethnographic studies and customer interviews, and they show customers early prototypes, etc. But the fact of the matter is there is a fundamental difference between what customers say that they will do and what customers will actually do in practice. So even if the customers say that they love your product and for sure they're going to buy it, that doesn't actually mean that they will do that. We can see that in the fast moving consumer goods industry, where I think well over 90% of newly introduced products actually fails. And this is despite the fact that the majority of customers that were tested during product development of these products actually said that they liked the product, that they thought it was superior to existing products, and that they would prioritize and buy this product in the future. And that of course didn't happen. And the final aspect is the lack of business agility. What is happening is that if I commit to building the next generation of my product, and this is say a 2 or 3 year process. In the automotive industry, this is not uncommon. I'm basically stuck. If I get new insights a few months in, or a few sprints in, or even a year into the project, that would really require me to change the priorities of the program, this is often very, very difficult to accomplish because the product architecture has been set at this point, and making changes to the product will often be prohibitively expensive, which then results with me introducing a product in the market 1 or 2 years later that really doesn't meet the needs of customers, and we just try to make the best of. So the alternative is to think about your company's product portfolio in a fundamentally different way. Rather than thinking about selling my products in a kind of transactional fashion, the thinking is, how do I get my products delivered in a way in which they are continuously delivering value to customers, and where we are continuously improving the value of the products or systems or solutions that we're offering to our customers. I mean, this is of course already the norm in the software as a service world, in the online world, but we increasingly also see it in mobile phones, we see it in computers, we see it in other types of equipment as well. But for embedded systems, this is still a relatively new thought. And what I think is important here is, and there's a figure here that shows how we're thinking about it, but the idea basically is that you have 4 elements. The first is you're constantly collecting data so you can quantitatively measure customer and product behavior in order to ensure that you're actually delivering customer value. And the second is, of course, continuous deployment of software. What we're looking for is we're looking to push out new versions of software on a continuous basis, which allows us to actually validate that that new value is being delivered. So we can run experimental approaches such as A/B testing or quasi-experiments or other kinds of approaches in order to constantly deliver new value. Not all experiments are successful. I mean, depending on the company, maybe half or 2/3 or even 90% of the experiments may fail, but that percentage of experiments that is successful will add new value and will actually deliver new value to customers. In the embedded systems industry, there's another part. When I achieve or move towards continuous deployment, one of the challenges is that the computational power in this electronics and the storage space in the electronics often becomes a limit. So you can imagine a situation where products are actually get upgraded on a periodic basis with new versions of electronics so that I can continue to deliver new value in the future as well. And of course, finally, the mechanical parts in the system that are subject to wear and tear, I can upgrade them or maintain them or replace them with new and improved versions on a regular basis. So the idea basically is rather than selling a customer a product that is the best possible at the time that I sell it, and then see it deteriorate over time, that model, I believe, is going away. I believe that as a society and as an industry, we are going to demand products that get better every day I use it, whether that is through data, through software, through electronics, or through mechanics. I want the product or system or solution or service that I'm using to get better every day I use it. And I think that the important question that I want to leave you with is, how can you take your product portfolio and deliver it to customers in such a way that you can make your product better for customers, deliver more value for customers on a continuous basis?